A silent revolution is taking place, and it's not happening on any battlefield. For decades, the world has run on a single promise: the US dollar. But while most of us are distracted by the day-to-day noise of the markets, the very foundations of that system are being challenged. This challenge isn't coming from tanks or missiles, but from something much older and arguably more powerful. In the East, a multi-decade plan has been quietly unfolding. A strategy to leverage the one asset that has outlasted every empire: gold. So, what if one ordinary Tuesday, the entire global financial system just stopped? Imagine the US dollar, the bedrock of the world's economy for nearly a century, suddenly going into a freefall. What could cause such a panic? A single, stunning announcement out of Beijing. This is a scenario that some analysts are now floating as a real, though low probability, possibility. It's a world where, after years of quiet preparation, China unveils its ultimate economic weapon: a yuan partially backed by a massive and potentially undisclosed stockpile of gold. This is the story of how that day could unfold, and how China's methodical planning is already paving the way for a new financial reality. For years, the signs have been hiding in plain sight. It starts with a relentless buying spree. The People's Bank of China has been gobbling up gold, increasing its holdings for 14 straight months as of December 2025. While that alone is significant, it's part of a much larger strategic shift. At the same time, China has been methodically cutting its exposure to the US dollar, with its holdings of US Treasury bonds recently hitting a 17-year low. This isn't a coincidence, it's a coordinated recalibration. China is quietly swapping yuan from the West for physical gold, an asset with no counterparty risk. They aren't just stockpiling it, they're building the infrastructure to create a new center of gravity for the global gold market, aiming to give their own exchanges in places like Shanghai more influence. This is the blueprint for an alternative financial system, one that doesn't have to run on the dollar. So how does this shift go from slow crawl to seismic shock? The move that could change everything is the kind of scenario you see in what are called outrageous predictions. Low probability but high impact thought experiments published by institutions like Saxo Bank. The theory goes like this. Beijing makes a stunning announcement that its audited gold reserves are far larger than the officially stated 2,306 tons. At the same time, it launches an internationally traded yuan that is partially backed by and convertible into that physical gold. Suddenly, the world would have a major currency anchored not by government debt, but by a tangible asset. For nations looking to reduce their dependence on the US dollar, this golden yuan would be an instant, credible alternative. Trade for critical resources like oil and copper could suddenly be settled directly in this new currency, bypassing the dollar-based system entirely. It wouldn't need to kill the dollar overnight. It would simply offer a powerful choice. What would a world with a gold-backed yuan even look like? Analysts who game out this scenario see a radical reordering of the financial landscape. Gold itself would be drastically revalued. Forecasts from firms like Yardeni Research and Jefferies Group have floated prices advancing towards $6,000 an ounce or higher. Meanwhile, JP Morgan has projected a rise toward $5,055 by the end of 2026. The consequences for the dollar could be severe. Its share of global reserves, which is already slipping, could fall dramatically. Saxo Bank's outrageous prediction suggests a drop by as much as a third, as countries might move trillions of dollars out of US treasuries and into this new gold-backed alternative. This wave of foreign selling would put immense pressure on the US government's borrowing costs, shaking the very foundation of America's financial power. This isn't just a financial story, it's about a fundamental shift in global power. The pieces are already moving on the board, and the consequences could affect everyone. To stay ahead of this unfolding story and understand what it means for your money, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. What do you think China's endgame is? Let me know in the comments below. So, is the era of the dollar's unrivaled dominance truly entering its twilight? China isn't asking for permission to build a parallel system. It's just doing it, methodically, piece by piece, with every ounce of gold it buys and every US bond it sells. While the day of a golden yuan is still a prediction, the underlying trend is undeniable. A silent revolution is underway, and the world is being forced to choose between the promises of the past and the tangible allure of gold. The financial system as we know it may not be broken yet, but you can definitely start to see the cracks forming.